Welcome back, everybody. Today we've got something a little bit different, not your typical fantasy football content that you see in this channel. Got a 2021 NFL mock draft. Only going to be doing picks 1 through 16. One, because I don't want the video to be 40 minutes long, and two, I don't know that much about a lot of the defensive prospects that are going to go in the second half of the first round. I don't want to look like a complete idiot. I'm going to look dumb enough doing the first 16 picks. I don't know much that's going to happen, but this is going to be a mix of predictive and what I would do. The only thing I do know is that the number one pick in this draft is the safest bet of all time. Put your 50 grand 401k on it, whatever the fuck you can invest, and win 15 cents back. Easy pick, easy money sniper. No Kevin Durant. But at 2, I think it's also another pretty simple pick, cut and dry. Jets moving Sam Darnold all but confirms they're taking a quarterback, and the guy they've seemingly had their eye on for months is Zach Wilson out of BYU. Number 3 is where the predictive side is going to take over, even though I don't think it should be the pick. I think if you're the 49ers, you don't give up 3 firsts and a third to move up for Mac Jones. You grab a guy like Justin Fields, like Trey Lance. Justin Fields has been the quarterback 2 in this draft for like a year. I don't know what exactly has gone on in the past 4 months that's had him drop to like 5 on people's boards. It doesn't make a ton of sense. I don't know why Shanahan would give up so much for a guy whose ceiling is seemingly limited by the fact that he's not a great athlete. He can move in the pocket well, manipulate the pocket well, but I feel like Justin Fields provides you so much upside. But then again, I'm not an NFL GM or coach. I'm not an NFL anything. I'm just a guy who talks about fake football. So I think the Niners are ultimately going to take Mac Jones, as much as I might not agree with it. And at 4 is where the draft actually kind of gets interesting, although for some people, not really. I think here there's a few options you can trade down with the Broncos, who I will have trading up in a future trade, but just not this one. You can go cornerback here, even though I think that's a bit of a reach, or you can make the pick that I think they're going to make. And the pick I might make, I think they take Kyle Pitts out of Florida. This, to me, reeks of a situation like the Giants in 2017. They have their quarterback, Eli Manning, and they know his time is kind of coming to an end. Maybe not the same way with the Falcons exactly, but just listen to what I'm telling you here a little bit. Go with me on this one. Realize Eli's last stand is coming up. They bring an offensive weapon in at 2, Saquon Barkley, to help him win. People call him a generational running back, but then again, they call everybody generational. He's one of the only players that's backed it up, though, when he's played. They brought in Saquon Barkley. Even though the team had holes on defense and in other spots they could have used the pick on, could have traded back, that's besides the point. They wanted to win. They took their last shot with their guy and ultimately failed. I see Atlanta aiming to take the same approach here. Kyle Pitts is an incredible talent. He's a lot of people's like second overall, first overall player on the big board. He's that damn good. He's a monster. He can high point the ball. He's a rack machine. There's nothing this dude can't do except play defense at this point. And even then, I think he'd be a fine enough free safety against some Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones shit. Arthur Smith, also as the head coach, likes to use his tight ends, wide receiver 1, tight end, run the ball heavy, open up that play action, keep it in structure. He might want to use Matt Ryan in the same system as Tannehill. So I think Pitts is a very appealing option for both his talent and fit. Tennessee had the 7th most tight end targets last year. Atlanta had 27th. I don't think that number is going to stay the same. There could be a flip-flop more than anything. Pitts will be the one. They'll use Hayden Hurst as a 2. And I think Pitts' talent is just too good to pass up here. And here's where the trade comes. I know. Cincinnati's sitting on the board. You have Jamar Chase and you have Penei Sewell. The generational offensive tackle and the best wide receiver prospect since Julio Jones. I don't know if that's true or not. What do I know? But they also don't necessarily need to take either of those guys here. I don't hate Sewell, given he's the best offensive lineman in this class, has a ton of upside, is a physical beast in a way that not a lot of these other guys are. And I don't hate Jamar Chase as the one. They run 3 receiver sets a ton. They love to pass the ball. You'd have Chase, Higgins, and Boyd operating out of the slot. And if they want to try and corral Joe Brady next year to have a little bit of a family reunion in the Bengals, I wouldn't hate that because Zach Taylor kind of garbo. Hopefully Joe Brady would use Joe Mixon right, but that's never going to happen. But their biggest need is O-line. They brought in Riley Reef to play right tackle. He's not there permanently. They can move him. Or they can get a guy they can kick into guard. I think you see where I'm going with this. And there's a team that needs a quarterback. I mentioned them last pick. Denver Broncos just got word that they made an offer for Stafford. They were heavily in on Watson. Offer for Stafford was a second-round pick and the 9th overall pick. Kind of see why that didn't go through compared to like 3 firsts. But, oh well, here we are. So we're going to do Bengals, making a trade with the Denver Broncos. We'll do 5, they'll give up a first, a third, and then a first next year, and a fourth. I'm not saying this is exactly what the trades are going to consist of. I'm just trying to give you something to work with here. Maybe it would just be this. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure. They declined it, so my trade was shitty. We're going to redo the trade. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll do that. Keep it how I had it. That, please. That, and that. And that should be good enough to go through. Oh, Jesus Christ. Fuck. We'll do... Didn't expect this much of a problem to arise. So we'll make the trade 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It went through last time as I was kind of sorting out the kinks. Oh my god. Alright, I'm back. Don't ask me how many picks I had to give up to make this trade go through. I did like a rough run to sort out all the trades and stuff I wanted to do. It went through last time with 9, their third this year, next year's first and next year's fourth, and this time I need to give up their top 3 picks in the next 2 drafts. Doubt that's going to be the price, but fucking PFN, Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator had a mind of its own. So I think the move here is for Justin Fields. They need a quarterback. I think they're one quarterback away from being a contender. Maybe not for a Super Bowl, but for a solid team. Would have had them staying at 9, honestly, and taking a guy like Patrick Surtain to patch the glaring hole at cornerback they had, but they signed Kyle Fuller. Excellent signing, patched the biggest need on that defense. Could still go linebacker, maybe Micah Parsons, but that can be something you address in the second round, which leaves the Dolphins on the clock with a very interesting decision. Do you bring in the best tackle prospect in the draft and just shore up your line, or do you give Tua another weapon? I don't think if they make this trade back up from 12 to 6 that they expect Sewell to be here, but I think they moved up for either Chase or Pitts. Pitts is gone. I think they want to get Tua another weapon and address offensive line later. They have picks later in this round. They'll probably deal with it there. So I think Jamar Chase is the pick for them. Give them an alpha for Tua. If Tua can't get it done with Jamar Chase, Will Fuller, Mike Gesicki, who kind of blows, a running back they inevitably bring in, Preston Williams, Devontae Parker, who aren't that great, but they're better than nothing. I think they'll realize maybe this guy's a bit of a fraud. Maybe he wasn't worth the 5th overall pick. And this leaves the Lions on the board at 7 with like the ultimate kneecap biter you could ever ask for. Penei Sewell, violent, dirty, wants to get down in the trenches, help this team lose 16 games next year, but protect Jared Goff while doing it. Make sure their trade asset that they're going to get a 4th for in 2 years is perfectly fine. Sewell's the pick. Pretty easy move for me. Now here comes the second trade. Now there's some options on the board here for Carolina. You could go Slater. You could go Surtain. You could even go J.C. Horn. You have a plethora of options. But with that plethora of options brings you value in moving back. And there are still some quarterback-needy teams in this draft, and one of them just so happens to be my New England Patriots. I think that they make a move for a quarterback. I don't think they're done yet. Hopefully this trade goes smoother than the last. I'm just going to overpay to make sure it does. I don't have to sit here for 3 minutes trying to force through trades. There we go. We move up. We're looking at the board. Spent a whole lot of money this offseason on some Antonio Brown shit. We should bring him back. But Billy B dropped a super stimmy on everybody. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Nelson Aguilar. We brought in some other weird receiver. I'm forgetting who it was. Matthew Judon. We brought in the whole gang. And we brought back Cam Newton. But Cam Newton probably isn't the long-term answer. And there is an opportunity for us to move up in this class and secure our quarterback of the future. Lance, to me, seems like the most natural progression after Cam Newton in the draft. Maybe you could argue Fields, but Fields is long gone. I doubt the Patriots get him unless they manufacture a move for 4. So they move up, secure their quarterback of the future. Billy B revenge tour with the super stimmy is complete. Gonna wreck house on the league this year and still finish like 3rd in the NFC East, which leaves the Bengals on the clock. You heard me alluding to this guy earlier. Second best O-tackle prospect in this class. Some people have him 1, actually. Just tells you how good he is. Incredibly pro-ready. Can be kicked into guard. Solves the Bengals' offensive line needs in a myriad of ways. Rashawn Slater is the pick. Now, the Cowboys are on the clock, and knowing them, I honestly wouldn't be shocked if they take, like, Jalen Waddle, but that's not the pick. That's a dumb pick. The pick here is Patrick Surtain. Shore up that defense that was more than a leaky faucet last year. It's like if you blew the pipes up at, like, a water park, hella water, very leaky. That's all you need to know. They addressed that hole. So there we have the Giants sitting at 11. Second NFC East team in a row. Not the last because we have the Eagles after them. I think we see a little bit of an offense run right here with 2 picks. Giants just brought in Kenny G for Danny Jones. Place like Mike Williams goes up, gets it, hurts his back, holds his back, misses half the season because his hip is mysteriously injured on a garbage team. Don't ask me. Get Waddle, open up the field a little bit, use him as a deep threat. So you'd have Waddle, you'd have Galladay, you have Darius Slayton or Sterling Shepard as a 3. Not too bad. That's probably where they should both be playing. Shepard could be more of the slot guy, Slayton more of an actual 3. You have Evan Engram at tight end, who was garbage, but he was a Pro Bowler because nobody knows who Robert Tonyan is if you're not a fantasy nerd. And then Saquon Barkley coming back, can address O-line later if they still feel that's a concern. Wouldn't be shocked at a guy like Micah Parsons, very great talent, hyper-athletic, can fit a Belichick in defense. We all know Joe Judge, Patriots coaches do the same thing anyway. But I think they see Waddle. I think they want to give Jones one last hoorah with a bunch of weapons, see what he can do, and if not, kick him to the curb next year. So following that pick, we have the Eagles on the clock, and knowing them, if Jalen Waddle was there, they would probably take him, because who doesn't love 2 speedy wide receivers 2 years in a row that don't do anything? I don't know, not the Eagles, man. But they could go corner here. It's not out of the question, but I think they move back to 12 in the hopes that one of these weapons would be here. I say they take Devonta Smith. So many concerns about him from an analytical side. Late breakout, didn't declare, fucking toothpick skinny. Dude's like 6'1", 170. It's ridiculous, but he's crispy. They could see him as an alpha receiver. I think that's what they do. See him as, I'm out here getting sick out at Devonta Smith's weight. It's interesting, but I think he's the pick for them here, even though they do kind of have a need at defense. So, Chargers are queued up. Need offensive line. Christian Darrisaw staring me in the face. One of the easier picks in the draft, to be quite honest with you. Not that complicated. Position of need. Need is filled. On to 14 with the Vikings. Could go Micah Parsons, something Parsons, Penn State, Hayes and Scandal, Micah Parsons. You know the drill. Haven't heard anything about that, so I'm assuming he's good. I'm assuming they've swept it under the rug pretty well. You know Penn State has a penchant for doing that. Could go here. Could go cornerback and Greg Newsome, even though they kind of hate rookie cornerbacks over there. One of them just got arrested and has likely never seen the light of a football field again after, I believe, it was some just downright horrid domestic abuse charges. Elijah Vera Tucker, best interior lineman. I would say if Slater would be here, but he wouldn't be here because if he was available at 13, the Chargers were taking him instantly. They would run up to the podium. It would be incredible to watch. Who's their head coach? The Rams guy? I'm blanking. I'll think of it later. Someone was running up to the podium. Someone was cashing that ticket. But instead the Vikings go Elijah Vera Tucker at a USC. Best guard left in the class. A lot of position in need there for the Vikings. So at 15-16, I think you have Carolina in a pretty nice spot. They needed defensive help. They brought in a cornerback earlier in free agency. They still have a hole there, though. And this isn't a team that's afraid to draft defense. Every single pick last year was on the defensive side of the ball. And I don't think there's a ton of great offensive value here. You don't need a running back. You don't need a quarterback, or at the very least, there's not a quarterback worth even considering taking here unless you're Chris Sims and then you're having another wet dream about Kellen Mond again, who moves like a robot pretending to be a quarterback. So I think the pick is corner. Your question here is Caleb Farley, who's having neck surgery, but the more that this story progresses, the more it seems like it's not that serious, and the surgery went incredibly well. Either way, I think they take J.C. Horn, which leaves the Cardinals in a prime position to fill the need at cornerback, a Patrick Peterson-sized hole. Gonna have to find him, Caleb Farley. I think that is the pick. They shore up that secondary. It's a team that's committing to now, and if Caleb Farley can step on the field this year, he's going to be an instant impact day one starter. I think it's a risk they can take here, bringing in a lot of guys to really make that push this year. Cliff Kingsbury really wants to save his job because he's underperformed like crazy. So Caleb Farley is that pick. They take a risk, and hopefully it pays off. And that concludes the first 16 picks of the mock draft. I'll run through them real quick. I'll delete the C. We have easy top 3, T-Law, Wilson, Mac Jones, although Mac Jones makes me sad. Pitts, Fields at 5. I know that's going to ruffle some feathers because the Bengals didn't take one of the 2 prospects everyone has them taking, but weird shit happens every year. Chase at 6, Sewell at 7, Lance at 8 to my New England Patriots, Homer trade, Sumi, Slater, Surtain, Waddle, Devonta Smith, Christian Darrisaw, Elijah Vera Tucker, J.C. Horn, and Caleb Farley. That's going to be it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the mock draft. A little something different. Figured I'd spice it up with draft season. In full force, the draft right around the corner. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Going to maybe do another one. Maybe do the second half of the first round, but I don't know. I'll fraud. Probably won't do it. Let me know what trades you liked, what trades you disliked, why I'm the dumbest person on the planet for having the Bengals trade down with the Broncos and still getting one of the better players in this draft at a position of need. Let me know why I'm dumb for having the Panthers trade down. That one I'm probably more receptive to hear you about, even though they still came out pretty well, given I had to give up so damn much to make this trade work on this website. If you didn't like it, though, leave a dislike. Tell me why. Open to feedback. Want to keep getting better. Like I said, hope you enjoyed, and that's going to be it for today, guys. See ya.